They're all the same thing, and they're all extraterrestrial. And neither of those are true.
Powering the gravity amplifiers. Gravity amplifiers.
UFO skeptics would have us believe that the existence of aliens is a figment of our imagination, or a product of conspiracy theories. However, when several UFO sightings have been reported over centuries, with eyewitnesses backing them up, it no longer seems like a hoax. Extraterrestrials are present in the universe, and there are UFO photos and sightings that prove it. Join us in this video as we explore this UFO photo that cannot be debunked because the proof is out there.
Dude, that is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of...
Number 10. The curious case of the Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter. When officers attached to Hopkinsville Police Station resumed work on August 21, 1955, little did they know that they would have an unusual case reported at the station that day. That evening, 12 people, 5 adults and 7 children, walked into the station to report that aliens from a spaceship had visited their house. You can imagine the bewildered faces of the officers on hearing the report. According to the claimants, the aliens had been attacking their farmhouse, and in response, they had opened fire on the spaceship. This gun battle continued for 4 hours as the residents battled with the aliens. When questioned, 2 of the adults, Elmer Sutton and Billy Ray Taylor, reported that they had been firing at a few dark figures that had appeared in their doorway or peered through their windows. At first, the officers found it hard to believe the alien narrative, but could 12 persons be lying? Sensing that its local citizens might be under attack, the police officers began investigating the incident. Here's where the story takes a mythical turn. The police officers arrived at the Sutton farmhouse, but didn't meet any alien-looking creatures. Neither did they see a spaceship hovering in the air or parked on the ground. Thus, the officers were vindicated for not believing the alien sighting. That's what they thought until they found evidence of gunfire and holes in windows and door screens. It was obvious that firearms had created the holes. Then it dawned on the officers that something strange had occurred on the grounds of the Sutton farmhouse. The investigating team comprised 4 city officers, 5 state troopers, 3 deputy sheriffs, and 4 military police officers from the nearby United States Army Fort Campbell. They had a new dilemma on their hands since it was clear that there was truth in the claim. They had to explain where the alien-looking creatures had come from and where they had gone. They sought answers to these questions as news of the incident spread across Hopkinsville till it became a national story. The investigation has not been completed till today. UFO theorists didn't waste time seizing the opportunity to push the UFO narrative, and their claim held strength when it was discovered that the occupants of Sutton farmhouse had moved away. According to neighbors, the families packed their belongings and drove away from the property because the creatures returned at about 3:30 a.m. The fear of another attack caused the families to take to their heels and look for a better haven. Since the investigations by authorities confirmed that the incident wasn't a hoax, then it means that aliens exist and are lurking in the shadows. Number 9. The Westall UFO incident. Despite being the second smallest state by land area, Victoria is the most densely populated state in Australia. The state also has an unshakable spot in Australia's Hall of Fame of UFO sightings. Among the sightings is the 1966 Westall UFO incident in Victoria, which cannot be forgotten quickly. It happened on April 6th at Westall High School, now Westall Secondary School, located in the capital city of Melbourne. At about 11 in the morning, students and a teacher from Westall High School reported seeing a flying object in the sky. This mysterious flying object, resembling a gray, saucer-shaped craft with a slight purple hue, kept its audience in awe. The craft was about twice the size of a family car. The image was still fresh in the students' minds when they described it to authorities in the coming days. According to the students, the mythical object descended as it flew over their high school, then disappeared behind a stand of trees. The students assumed that the object was gone for good, and spent the next few minutes trying to figure out where it had come from. While they were still racking their brains, the object reappeared 20 minutes later, to their surprise. Their shock increased as the object doubled its speed and flew toward the northwest. This incident got even more exciting when some people reported that 5 other unidentified crafts were pursuing the object. So not only do aliens exist, but it seems they also engage in military operations like we do. While we don't know the exact location of these extraterrestrial creatures, it is clear that they can visit us whenever they like. Still on the flying object, although many skeptics claimed it wasn't an alien craft, UFO theorists disagree. UFO enthusiasts believe that the flying object came to execute a military operation in Victoria, Australia, but was chased back by enemy aircraft. Regrettably, we don't know if the craft was able to return to base or if the enemy crafts caught up with it. Number 8. The Lakenheath Bentwaters Incident. The Royal Air Force of the United Kingdom and the United States Air Force have a shared history that dates back several decades. Their shared history is not limited to military activities alone. You may be surprised to know that the air forces of both nations have a shared UFO experience. Let's go down memory lane to the night of August 13, 1956, when air bases in eastern England picked up a series of radar on unidentified flying objects. At about 9:30 in the evening, radar operators at the Bentwaters military base tracked an approaching flying target. The confusion about this incident is that the target looked like a normal aircraft on a return trip. It was moving at a speed of several thousands of miles per hour. The story took a surprising turn when the radar operators spotted a group of targets moving slowly to the northeast. The targets merged into a single, very large return before moving off the scope to the north. But that wasn't the end. For their third sighting, the radars picked another rapid target moving from east to west. Although there were no actual visual sightings of the objects, the military communities of the UK and the US cannot forget this event in a hurry. Conventional explanations of the event have been unable to disprove the hypothesis by UFO theorists that the flying targets were UFO objects. Number 7. The Gulf Breeze UFO Incident. One mysterious UFO sighting that has troubled eyewitnesses took place in the Gulf Breeze UFO, Florida, United States. The events occurred between late 1987 and early 1988, and have been one of the strong pieces of evidence used by UFO theorists in debates on aliens. On November 11, 1987, Ed Walters, a contractor in Gulf Breeze, was reportedly immobilized by a blue beam. According to Walters, he saw an object hovering about 200 feet above the ground, and he was mesmerized for a few seconds. He quickly got over his shock and took out his Polaroid camera to record the event. It wasn't every day that one saw an alien-looking craft, and Walters knew this. His curiosity had been piqued, and it wouldn't be shaken off quickly. Walters wasn't satisfied with that first sighting and decided to try his luck by visiting the location again. Guess what? Walters' curiosity was rewarded because the UFO was still present. Although fazed by the occurrence that looked like a scene from a sci-fi movie, Walters took a second photograph of the object. In the following months, Walters would visit the site multiple times, recording a videotape and capturing 32 photographs of the object. Walters' encounter with the UFO took a more interesting turn when he spotted the craft land on Soundside Drive and drop 5 aliens on the road. Walters was on the borderline of fright and amazement when one of the aliens stared into his car window. The other aliens noticed his presence and began communicating with him in English and Spanish via telepathy. Their encounter went to another level when the aliens presented him with a book showing pictures of a dog. Not long after he viewed the pictures, a blue beam of light caused him to be lifted 3 feet off the ground before he fell back to the floor minutes later. If this event seems shocking, wait till you hear that the immobilization in the blue beam occurred again on December 2, 1987. This event was also reported by Walters, leading us to take the Gulf Breeze incident as one of the most spectacular UFO sightings in our world. Number 6. Tuscany Stadium UFO sighting. There are different reasons a football match can be halted mid-play. However, the football world will never forget the 27th of October, 1954, in a hurry because of the spectacular way a match was stopped for some minutes. It all happened in Tuscany, Florence, when the mighty Fiorentina football club was pitched against local rival Pistoiese. The stands of the Stadio Artemio Franchi were filled to its brim by over 10,000 fans who had come to watch a regular match. Little did the fans know that they were about to witness a historic event. The memorable event occurred just after halftime when an eerie silence enveloped the stadium. The fans were no longer looking at the playing footballers as their gaze had shifted to something in the sky. Almost everyone was pointing to the sky, where egg-shaped objects were glittering. The silver-coated objects had the attention of the spectators for a few minutes, and they moved very fast till they were out of sight. According to Gigi Boni, a lifelong Fiorentina fan, the objects resembled Cuban cigars. He believed they were extraterrestrial objects. Another eyewitness and one of the footballers that day, Artico Magnini, confirmed that the game halted for minutes as the objects mesmerized both the spectators and players. Everyone was shocked because it was nothing like they had seen before, and almost everybody agreed that the objects belonged to aliens. Perhaps the aliens decided to have a first-hand view of a football match. Number 5. The Coin Helicopter Incident. On the 18th of October, 1973, some residents of north-central Ohio saw strange lights in the sky to the west over Charles Mill Lake. Understandably, they were bewildered for the rest of the night. Some probably even dreamt of the sighting that night. However, what the residents didn't know was that they were not the only ones who had spotted the unusual lights. They would wake up the next morning to discover that a military helicopter flying near Mansfield had also seen the lights. Captain Lawrence J. Coyne was flying the helicopter, and he was the one who reported the incident to the public. Due to the integrity of Captain Coyne, this incident is regarded as one of the most credible UFO sightings, according to the Center for UFO Studies. Coyne was 36 years old at the time, with 19 years of flying experience. Furthermore, Coyne wasn't alone in the craft. Sitting beside him was First Lieutenant Arrigo Jezzi, a 26-year-old pilot and chemical engineer. Behind Jezzi were Sergeant John Healy, the flying medic, and Sergeant Robert Janasek, a computer technician. The helicopter, which belonged to the United States Army Reserve, was en route to Cleveland Hopkins Airport. During the trip, Coyne saw a single red light to the west, flying to the south. At first, the crew thought the light was from a tower beacon or an aircraft port wing light. However, they changed their mind when the light changed its trajectory and began approaching the helicopter. At this point, Coyne and the others knew that something was fishy. In response, Coyne flew the helicopter at a descent of 500 feet per minute. He also contacted the National Guard aircraft tower in Mansfield to check if the light was theirs. He established communication with the tower briefly before losing contact with the operators. Coyne didn't want to take any chance, so he increased the descent to 2,000 feet per minute at 100 knots. Yet the helicopter couldn't outrun the approaching object. The crew was in a dilemma and braced for impact with the approaching light, but it never happened. The light halted and began hovering above and in front of the helicopter. This allowed the crew to glimpse a cigar-shaped, slightly domed, featureless gray metallic structure. From this description, it was clear that the crew had come face to face with an alien spaceship. The light hovered a bit before disappearing off west, leaving the helicopter to proceed safely to Cleveland. Number 4. The world's UFO hotspot. UFO sightings are such rare events that, when they happen, they confer a special status on the location where they occurred. Now, what happens if these sightings happen regularly in the same location? This has been the fate of Bonnybridge for years. Bonnybridge is a small town in Scotland that keeps buzzing in the news because of its higher number of UFO sightings. The town records the highest number of UFO sightings in the world yearly. In the past 3 decades, there have been nearly 300 UFO sightings reported annually in the town. This has earned the town the nickname UFO Capital of the UK. One of the popular UFO events in the town occurred in 1992. Local businessman James Walker had been driving between Falkirk and Bonnybridge when he spotted something unusual that forced him to halt the vehicle. Hovering above the road was a bright shining object blocking his way. The object moved at a very fast speed and disappeared from view. As expected, Walker was disturbed by this event. He hurried away from the location and would share his experience in the coming days. Walker isn't the only one to have experienced such an event. Over the years, many other residents have also shared their UFO experience. From cigar-shaped flying objects to strange lights hovering in the sky, there are about 300 sightings recorded in the sleepy town annually. This has transformed the town into a mecca for UFO theorists. Number 3. The lights above the New Jersey Turnpike. When many eyewitnesses attest to an incident, it's true. Everyone can't be lying, can they? If you agree with this, then you would also agree that the strange lights that appeared above New Jersey were a UFO sighting. Although UFO skeptics would have you believe that the event is a hoax, residents of New Jersey would beg to differ. On the 17th of July 2001, residents were dazzled by the sight of strange, bright lights high in the sky. According to one eyewitness, Joe Malvasia, it was one of the most amazing things he had ever seen. Malvasia spoke the minds of many other eyewitnesses who had a glimpse of the wonder. The bright lights appeared in the sky and stayed there for some time before they began to disappear one after the other. It began with one light fading off, followed by another until the lights were no longer visible. Some of the eyewitnesses have linked the lights to aliens' visits, and they just might be right. This is because we are yet to answer where these strange lights came from or what made them disappear when they did. Surprisingly, some of the witnesses of this event included the authorities. Lieutenant Daniel Tarrant of the Carteret Police Department reported seeing 16 golden-orange colored lights, several in a V formation. Some of the lights were scattered around the V formation. Tarrant wasn't the only one with this description because at least 15 people contacted the station to report the strange lights. Most callers described seeing the golden-orange lights moving quietly in the night sky until they crossed the Arthur Kill River. Like the eyewitnesses, the authorities cannot explain the origin of the strange lights. Thus, it sits high in the records of unexplained UFO events. Number 2. The Stephenville sightings. Over centuries of our human existence, aliens keep proving that they are not a figment of our imagination. The Stephenville sightings of 2008 is one of such opportunities that extraterrestrials have seized to prove to us that they exist. One evening in January 2008, residents of Stephenville, Texas, experienced an uncommon event when they saw a UFO in the sky. The object, described as faster than a speeding bullet and bigger than a Walmart, hovered in the night sky for about 5 minutes, enough time to be spotted by many eyewitnesses. But if the accounts of dozens of witnesses are considered false, could a pilot and police officer also be lying? Pilot Stephen Allen had seen the object when he was clearing brush off a hilltop near the town of Selden. According to Allen, the UFO was a large aircraft with flashing strobe lights. One would expect that this type of enormous aircraft would have made a large noise during its movement. However, this is not the case. The craft was silent, based on Allen's report. The UFO sped away at more than 3,000 miles per hour, appearing as a red glow in the eyes of police officer Leroy Gaitan, who had been walking to his car. According to Gaitan, the red glow reminded him of images he had seen of an erupting volcano. Although Gaitan knew what he had seen was special, he got a confirmation when he read the local paper the next day. He wasn't the only one who had witnessed the event. Number 1. The Chicago O'Hare UFO sighting. Beyond farm fields and town parks, UFO sightings have also reached airports. One notable sighting took place at the Chicago O'Hare International Airport. This event occurred in the afternoon of the 7th of November 2006. It was witnessed by 12 employees of United Airlines and a few witnesses outside the O'Hare International Airport. The witnesses reported seeing a UFO at about 4:15 p.m. and communicated it to the federal authorities. The UFO they described was a metallic, saucer-shaped craft hovering over Gate C-17. The object had been spotted by a ramp employee pushing back United Airlines Flight 446, which was departing Chicago for Charlotte, North Carolina. The object, described as being between 6 and 24 feet in diameter, was completely silent. The dark, disc-shaped craft hovered over the airport for a while before disappearing by shooting through the cloud at a high velocity. The UFO left a clear blue hole in the cloud layer. It also left behind a pool of unanswered questions that UFO theorists are still seeking to answer. UFO sightings have been reported for centuries, and they will continue to occur as long as aliens exist. There's so much we don't know about extraterrestrials. UFO sightings give us a glimpse into what they might look like or how advanced they are. In the coming days, there'll be more sightings. Hopefully, we can gain more insights about aliens from these UFOs. Thanks for watching this video till the end. For more mind-blowing discovery videos like this, click the next video on the screen.